Assalamualaikum.
Hi. So you have been to the Punjab Public Service Commission.
Yes, sir.
How was that interview?
So it was good.
It went well?
Yes.
How much time they took?
It's about 23 minutes.
23 minutes. What was the focus? What was the focus of discussion?
So they asked me questions regarding history and some questions regarding my district profile and some questions regarding my hobbies. This was the major portion. They also asked me about whether they should ask questions about history or not. I asked them, yes, they can. And then they were like, okay, फिर तो challenge किया है आपने हमें. और इसके बाद, but they asked easy questions.
हमारा ये बताओ, having this experience with us, तुमने एक interview दिया दो?
So one mock interview for PMS and one for CSS.
So was this mock interview helpful to you there in the actual commission interview?
Yes, sir. It was helpful.
How it was helpful?
So 3 questions were absolutely repeated there.
Okay.
And other than that, I think the confidence and exposure that we get after this interview, that matters a lot. We feel like we are prepared and we have already been before the panel. Now we can go before them again and our mistakes have been pointed out. We would not be repeating them. That gives us sort of confidence and that makes us feel good. और इसकी वजह से I think अच्छी feeling आती है कि अब हम आराम से we are good to go.
Good. You mean that this is practice is good?
Yes, sir.
It helps.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So just say written may we have to write more for better practice. I think in interview we have to give more mocks and we have to speak more about the answering things and all. This gives us better practice.
Let's forget about the preliminaries. You tell me, who is the first teacher of the world?
I'm so sorry, I don't know the answer.
And who is the first teacher of the child?
So, generally speaking, mother is the first teacher of the child.
Who?
Mother.
How?
Because a child is born and given to her for the first time, and she is there with the child all the time, and the child is basically copying her. And most of the time the child spends with her, and that's why I believe I'm not sure that it's right answer or not, but I think a mother should be the first teacher of the child.
What are the good characteristics of a teacher?
So the good characteristics of a teacher, firstly, how they engage with the students. Because learning is a two-way activity, I believe. How the teacher engages with student in terms of delivering the knowledge and also in terms of relating with how the child is gaining the knowledge, what the requirements are, and how the child is improving, if he's improving or not. I think these are the basic characteristics that a teacher must have to be a good teacher.
How do you see the role of social media in politics of Pakistan?
So I think role of social media in politics of Pakistan has been both positive and negative. In terms of positive role, social media has helped people get more awareness about what is going on in the political scenario. Without that social media thing, Pakistanis would not believe in a lot of things which were told to them through the state channels. But after the social media, people have got perspectives based upon different opinions that people share, and people get to know the first-hand knowledge about various things. And so the negative perspective is that this might lead to yellow journalism and also lead to some sort of propaganda. And since Pakistanis are very sentimental in this case, so most of the people would believe in the sentimental sort of propaganda more, and that is leading to political confrontation also in Pakistani society.
How you will differentiate between the emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence?
So, emotional intelligence, I believe, is how we respond to social situations, how we respond to the people around us, and how we respond to the activities that we are into by involving our traits that are not related to intelligence or something like. It's like decision making, it's like problem solving, and how compassionate we are and how considerate we are. And artificial intelligence is related to the computers and internet and how robots and they can be taken into consideration and how can they help us solve issues. For example, if a robot the robot that has been introduced quite recently in Saudi Arabia, namely Sarah, if that robot is doing something, for example, if that is working as as some sort of secretary to a person, and that is the artificial intelligence. If we're using chat GPT for getting answers to our questions, that is artificial intelligence. But when we are discussing that with a colleague or with a team of people, here we are using our emotional intelligence, how we do the teamwork and how we discuss things with people.
Welcome to CSPs Academy for CSS PMS preparation. CSS PMS तहरीरी इम्तिहान के तमाम मज़ामीन की ऑनलाइन और ऑन कैंपस तैयारी के साथ साथ सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्शन, असाइनमेंट चेकिंग, क्लास टेस्ट, मॉक एग्जाम, इंडिविजुअल टीचर डिस्कशन और फीडबैक सेशन का इनकाद किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा FPSC की तजवीज़ करदा बुक्स से बने मयारी नोट्स और CSPs पब्लिशर की बेहतरीन बुक्स मुहैया की जाएंगी। Register now at 0316 570 1593.
Recently, the Saudis and Iranis, they have gone for a rapprochement through the mediation of China.
Yes, sir.
What are its implications for the Middle East, and how you assess the Pakistan will be affected by it?
So I think its implication for the Middle East will be that the tension that is going on in the Middle East for so many years would get a little decline. For example, there are proxies of both these countries, Iran and Saudi Arabia, that have been in confrontation in Yemen and Syria. All those tensions would decline, and that would lead to some sort of unity among the Muslim Ummah. And so the role of China is also very important here. The role of China says that now the world is changing in terms of who would lead the world. In the earlier times, United States would be at the helm of most of the matters, and United States would deal with the countries in terms of whether they should reproach or not, whether they should stay at loggerheads or not. But now China is taking a lead, and now China is helping countries come forward. And I think the basic thing that is bringing those countries together is also the opportunities that China is offering to them. And so as far as Pakistan is concerned here, I think it would benefit Pakistan also, because Pakistan has been having good relations with Saudi Arabia at the expense of good relations with Iran. Whenever we have to choose between both of these countries, Pakistan would lean more towards Saudi Arabia. This would help Pakistan because Pakistan is having good relations with China, Iran and Saudi Arabia. This will create a power balance vis-a-vis Pakistan and these countries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
How will you define a public policy?
So, public policy is basically, for example, if there is an issue like when COVID struck and the government has had to basically to solve that problem, the government officials and the policy makers, they sat together to find what the problem is and how can that be solved by involving all the stakeholders, and they made a policy that had to be implemented. This policy is public policy. That is
what is that? What is policy? How will you define policy? They made that policy, but what is policy? How will you define it?
So policy is a set of characteristic things that is made by.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes, sir.
Policies are generally seen, they are not fully implemented.
Yes, sir.
Why it is so? They are left, you see, in the middle.
So I think there are three reasons majorly for that. The first reason is that in Pakistan there is not any political continuity, and that's why the public policy that is initiated by one political party, when that political party is not in power, the next political party doesn't continue that, because it thinks that it is a flagship policy of the particular previous government and they do not have the necessary will to carry that further. Secondly, sir, there is a lot of lack of resources in Pakistan. For example, when Sehat Card was announced, and that policy was a very good policy in terms of universal health, but there were so many problems regarding the resources at the end of implementation, and that's why this is the second major problem. And third problem is that, so in Pakistan, the persons who are implementing the policy and the persons who are involved at the lower level, for example, in terms of health card, the private hospitals, for example, they were not very honest with that. Some of the people, they wrote in the newspapers as per the letters to editor that they were not given the right sort of treatment in terms of the health card. The hospitals told that they do not have the necessary equipment. And that was not a real shortage, that was the fake shortage, that was just feigned in order to prevent the proper implementation.
What can you tell us about some of the administrative reforms which Dr. Ishrat Hussain proposed for the administrative machinery of our country?
Yes, sir. So he proposed a few reforms. Firstly, he proposed that there should be a national executive service and also a provincial executive service. And the persons working in provincial executive service, they might go into national executive service after 19th scale. Secondly, he proposed that in Pakistan there are so many people who are working in the district level, but they are not in working in their own district. That's why there should be a district district machinery also, where the people who belong to a certain district, they should be recruited in that very district council, so that there might be a proper implementation mechanism. Thirdly, sir, he also said that in Pakistan there should be some ending to the recruitment in services other than health and education, because a lot of exchequer is being wasted in terms of new recruitments and without any proper placement of those people.
Okay. He also proposed, a reform regarding weeding out of the dead wood.
Yes, sir.
Weeding out of the dead wood. Those officers who are not performing well, they are inefficient or corrupt, they have to be weeded out within a certain, after 20 years.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with that?
So I've not read about that formally, but I understand this thing, that what the weeding out of the officers who are not working mean.
Okay, no problem. What is diplomatic immunity?
So diplomatic immunity basically is the immunity that is given to the foreign officers or the ambassadors who are working in other countries, and that means those people would not be treated as per the laws of that country, and the foreign office of the respective country where the officer belongs to would deal with the issues concerning that foreign ambassador or foreign officer. This is diplomatic immunity.
Join CSPs, where we believe that your dreams are our mission. So let us be your partners in this transformative journey as we equip you with knowledge, confidence, and resilience required to emerge as CSS toppers. Contact us on our given WhatsApp number 0316 570 1593 or visit our website www.csps.com.pk.
How will you promote the soft image of Pakistan as a foreign service officer?
So, firstly, I think we should dismantle some insecurities and some fake news about Pakistan that is being strongly believed in the rest of the world. Like Pakistanis are extremists, like Pakistanis are the people who do not value women and who do not give them proper opportunities. Secondly, sir, I think there is immense potential of tourism in Pakistan, and the Foreign Office can work in terms of advertising it properly, and that would also lead to a soft image of Pakistan abroad.
And who was Cesar Lombroso?
So he was a political philosopher. I'm sorry, sir. He was a criminologist, but it was not a practitioner in the earlier time. But he was just a theorist. He gave some theories regarding criminology.
What was that theory?
So I'm not very much familiar about that. So I forgot that.
He's father of criminology. He's known as. And who was Frederick Wilson Taylor? What theory did he propound?
So he propounded the theory of scientific management theory with regards to how can the work ethic be improved. There are 4 principles of scientific management theory that he proposed. Firstly, he said that there must be some division of labor. Secondly, he said that there must be mental revolution. By that, he meant that there should be a proper work ethic that all the workers should follow. Thirdly, he said that the time management is the key to working, and for that that he proposed certain rules of time management and wage management.
Good. Very
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Ammara, you have studied inorganic chemistry.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, which would be a better chemistry for waste management, inorganic or organic chemistry?
Ma'am,
And why?
Ma'am, I think they cannot be separated in terms of waste management, but I strongly believe that organic chemistry can give more potential solutions for solving the waste management problem, because the waste that we are subjected to, they are mostly the plastic waste and the organic waste. Coming from the biological setups mostly. So that's why organic chemistry would give more solutions. That also leads me to tell that whenever waste management solutions are predicted upon and they are thought about, it is considered that all the waste management techniques would give off carbon dioxide. That is inorganic, but inorganic in nature, but that comes off from the organic material. Whenever an organic material is burned, that gives off carbon dioxide that is inorganic in nature. So I think it cannot be possible that both of them can be separated in terms of solution. But all the methods that we study for waste management, we study them under the organic chemistry.
Thank you. Your second option is Foreign Service of
Yes,
Pakistan.
ma'am.
Do you have any idea of the structure of an embassy?
No, ma'am, I am not aware of that. I am aware of a few terms like who are high commissioners, like who are ambassadors, and the third secretary. I'm aware of these terms. I'm not aware of the complete hierarchy of the.
What is happening in Ukraine right now?
Ma'am, currently it's been a year that Russia has invaded Ukraine. It is not basically a Russia-Ukraine tussle. It is basically a long-term tussle that is involving more powers and more stakeholders. Russia is invading Ukraine because Russia thinks that NATO powers and all the allied powers, including US, they wants to come to the border of Russia in order to intimidate Russia. And Russia is doing so because Russia wants to teach a lesson to the West that it is not possible to directly confront Russia that way. So the Russians are invading Ukraine. About 31% of the area of Ukraine has already been captured by Russians, and the war is currently going on.
Recently, there was a bomb blast in police lines in Peshawar.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the dynamics subsequent to that in our foreign policy discussions between Pakistan and Afghanistan?
Ma'am, later on, after that bomb blast, our defense minister went to Afghanistan, and they had some elaborate talks about how can this Taliban issue be solved. And the Taliban initially they did not agree that they can do something for Pakistan, but later on they said that they can solve this issue given that they are given some opportunities in terms of financial opportunities, because only in that case they would be able to collaborate with Pakistan. They are already short of funds; they cannot do so without any proper funding. And they also said that Pakistan should also do some operations in terms of eliminating this problem, and this is the internal problem of Pakistan and not the problem that directly relates to the Afghan Taliban. And that is also basically disturbing the overall image of Pakistan, because Pakistan was initially involved in doing the negotiations with the Taliban, Taliban. And after some sort of negotiations, there was a ceasefire. That was later on there was basic retreat from that ceasefire. That led to some inconsistent policies of Pakistan, and that is not a good image that we can show to the world, that we are in for such a sensitive issue we have inconsistent policies.
So do you think the defense minister should have gone for these discussions?
Ma'am, I think he should have gone because this directly relates to the security issues of Pakistan. So he must have gone. But ma'am, I also think that the representative of Pakistan to Afghanistan should have taken this at the initial level, and later on the talks must be between the upper tier, and that should also not be the security. Um, um, the security personnel involved in that. Initially, there should be the diplomatic talk between the foreign office of both the countries, and later on, the defense minister should have gone.
Give your career a boost with CSS PMS preparation. From Civil Services Preparatory School, join CSS PMS for on-campus and online classes. Join us for your bright future. Civil Services Preparatory School, Markaz, Islamabad. Register now at 0316 570 1593.
And recently, G20 meeting was held in India. Meetings were held in India. Can you tell me something about it?
Yes, ma'am. In the G20 meetings, ma'am, there were three major things that happened. Firstly, Pakistan did not join that. And secondly, that the countries in the G20 meetings, some of the countries clearly showed that why they are being non-aligned in terms of Russia-Ukraine war, and they clearly told what their perspective is. And thirdly, the G20 countries also pledged to work for the environmental sustainability. And this is important thing that happened because G20 countries usually do not pledge for environmental sustainability usually, but in this recent meeting they made some promises about that, including generating $100 billion this year for in terms of loss and damage fund, which was talked about also in COP27.
Can you tell me composition of G20?
Yes, ma'am. G20 is basically the organization of United States, Russia, France, Britain, and Germany, India, and ma'am, there are also some other members. They're not the 20 members, there are more than 20 members, but that is called G20.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Mara, may I have a question related to history as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Likely, maybe these questions may be in your final interview as well. Can you tell golden period of Indian history? Can you demarcate that era?
Sorry, sir.
Do you know something about War of Kalinjar? That is very important war. Have you heard something about Sher Shah Suri?
Yes, sir. I know
Who
about
was Sher
them.
Shah Suri?
So Sher Shah Suri was an Afghan king who later on came to Indian subcontinent, and he basically fought against Humayun, and he did
When
not.
he came to power? In which year?
So I do not know exactly about the year. It was about 16th century when he came to Indian subcontinent, and he made the Rohtas fort in Jhelum to protect this territory against Humayun.
Okay. You have any idea about Ashoka?
Sir, the Kalinjar war that you were talking about, that war involves Ashoka, but I'm not.
No, that was War of Kalinga.
So I do not know much about Ashoka.
Can you name three emperor from later Mughal era?
Yes, sir. Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was the last Mughal Badshah. Other than that, Sir Jahangir.
He was from later Mughal? He was from greater Mughals. Okay. I have one question from chemistry as well. Can you tell how this material on our Earth, under what forces or circumstances, developed into 109 elements? What were those circumstances?
So whenever one metal or one element was discovered, it led to some of the gaps with respect to the characteristics of that element, and that research later on about those characteristics would lead to the development of another metal and so on. And sometimes the metals metals, either they were metals or sometimes they were the inorganic elements. They had certain characteristics that matched two or more than two other elements. And afterward, the subsequent research in those led to the development of more and more elements that led to 109 elements now.
Okay, Ammara, I want to know what were the shortcomings in third June plan according to you?
So in third June plan, the first shortcoming was that there was not proper representation given to the Indians at that time. There were some issues that were taken that were given to the Indians, but there were some issues that the Indians wanted, but they were not given. And secondly, sir, I think that the Indian National Congress and Muslim League did not had complete consensus on that also. So there were some subsequent
You know about third June plan, what was about?
So third June plan was about how can the two dominion states can be created, and how can subcontinent be divided into India and Pakistan.
What you know about dominion state? What is a dominion state?
It is a state basically which has which gets freedom from certain bigger power, and that does not have complete sovereignty over the territory, but there are some colonial masters who are tackling some of the major issues, and the rest of the powers are in the hands of the country personnel who.
You can tell Australia and Canada are dominion states or totally independent state.
So I'm not very sure about this.
And when Pakistan becomes republic?
So according to my knowledge, in 1947.
Pakistan become republic?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure about this too.
Is there difference between republic and dominion?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the difference.
Okay, then my last question. What you think, how Indian National Congress reacted toward the cabinet mission plan? They accepted it, if they rejected or some other opinion?
So they rejected the cabinet plan because they thought
on what grounds they rejected?
That Muslims are given more representation, and the British are aligning with.
Go check it again. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
चलो जी, let's conclude it.
Yes, sir.
Where you stand, 1 से 10 के स्केल में अपने आप को assess करो.
So I think I stand on 5 or even below that, because it was the worst mock interview that I've given so far.
तुम्हारे लिए एडवाइस है, कीप इट अप. अखबार 3 महीने के पिछले भी रिव्यू करो, नोटबुक मेंटेन कर रही हो इंटरव्यू वो करो, और ये परफॉर्मा 80% इसी में से आएगा. ठीक है. और तुमने अपनी जो है ना जरा बख्तर नहीं उतारनी. यू आर इन ए स्टेट ऑफ प्रिपेयर्डनेस. कीप इट अप. ये इस हालत में रहो जिस तरह तुम शार्पन योर रीडिंग्स. तो उससे जितना ज्यादा पढ़ोगे ना करंट इश्यूज पे, you will have more command. So I think you are a winning horse. You can do well in this Federal Public Service Commission.
Thank you, sir.
पंजाब पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन वो ये ज्यादा आसान है, वो कम है. लेट मी टेल यू, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ भी रहा हूँ, मैं वहाँ भी रहा हूँ. तो पंजाब PMS इज मोर डिफिकल्ट. उनके जो है ना स्टैंडर्ड्स नहीं है उनके पास, वो स्पेस लिमिटेड होती है ना. 40-50 सीटें हैं, तो यहाँ तो 150 सीटें हैं, 200 सीटें हैं. तो कीप इट अप बेटी, इंशाल्लाह तुम हो जाओगी, लेकिन अपनी स्टेट ऑफ प्रिपेयर्डनेस को मेंटेन करो. आप सर बताएं.
हाँ, आपने अच्छा परफॉर्म किया, बल्कि बड़ा अच्छा. आप जरा तेज बोलती हैं, जरा स्पीड आपकी कुछ ज्यादा नहीं है.
So I've written that in my weaknesses also.
Weakness पढ़े सर.
अच्छा, I can wait to. बड़ी जबरदस्त भाई, that's very good. You are very honest to yourself. तो इसको थोड़ा सा जो है इसकी स्पीड को मैनेज करने की कोशिश करें शीशे के सामने. शुरू में आप ज्यादा स्पीड लग रही थी, लेकिन बाद में मेरे ख्याल में आपने जो है स्पीड आपकी कुछ बेहतर हो गई थी. तो इस पर ज़रा तवज्जो दें. बाकी आई थिंक आपने सवालों के जवाब बहुत अच्छे दिए हैं, ख़ास तौर से ये फ्रेडरिक विल्सन टेलर. लेकिन ये जो क्रिमिनोलॉजी में ये जो है सीज़र लोम्ब्रोसो, इसके बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए था. He is regarded as the father of क्रिमिनोलॉजी और क्या थ्योरी उसने propound की थी, तो इसको ज़्यादा तवज्जो देंगे, ठीक है। हाँ, बाकी ठीक है। क्रिकेट के बारे में मैंने आपसे पूछा नहीं, क्या करती हैं क्रिकेट में आप? बॉलिंग, बैटिंग?
सर बॉलिंग करती हूँ।
बॉलिंग करती हैं, अच्छा। अभी भी खेलती हैं आप?
सर यूनिवर्सिटी तक खेलती थी, अभी घर में सिर्फ छोटे बहन भाइयों के साथ कभी कभार।
अच्छा, चलो ठीक। बहरहाल आपको बड़े अच्छे नंबर मिले हैं। होप आप इस टेम्पो को मेंटेन करेंगी फर्दर इंटरव्यूज में, ठीक है।
Ammara, in my view, we are here to guide you to perform better.
Yes, ma'am.
It's easier to say you're good, but I want you to be the best.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know your weaknesses, that's why you rated yourself 5, right? Let's start from appearance. Your dress is nice, good personality. As far as your interview is concerned, there were a lot of gaps, and you know that.
Yes, ma'am.
I think last time also I had asked you about the structure of an embassy.
No, ma'am.
अच्छा, सिर्फ हाई कमिश्नर और एम्बेसडर का पूछा था क्या?
Yes, ma'am.
अच्छा, स्ट्रक्चर भी देखो बेटा, यू शुड हैव एन आइडिया। जो भी आपकी ये ऑप्शंस है ना,
Yes, ma'am.
this is your advantage or your disadvantage. So make it an advantage instead of a disadvantage. If you've written it here that you want to be a foreign service officer, you should have a full information on what foreign service is about, what is the structure of an embassy, how foreign policy is made. And then when you give answers, don't contradict yourself, because you do realize that there were points where you were contradicting yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
That should not happen. If you're talking about foreign policy and you say defense minister went, and then you say, oh, the high commissioner should have, or the ambassador should have done this, you're basically contradicting yourself throughout.
Yes, ma'am.
That should not happen. There should be consistency in your narrative, whatever narrative you're giving.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Otherwise, you're a smart girl. I'm confident you'll do well, but work on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Your responses should not be self-contradictory. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
वेल हमारा अब भी जो इंटरव्यूज हो रहे हैं ना, उनमें हिस्ट्री के क्वेश्चंस बहुत पूछे जा रहे हैं। ये मैंने आपकी एक मॉक तैयारी करवाई है कि अब आपने कि कुछ चीज़ों को थोड़ा सा देखना, बल्कि मुझे मैडम ने बताया कि जो अभी जो पैनल में है ना, तो वो सर्व कर चुके हैं इंडिया में भी, ठीक है। तो इंडियन हिस्ट्री से बहुत क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, अशोका के बारे में, चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के बारे में, चाणक्य कौटिल्य के बारे में, डिफरेंट बहुत हिस्टोरिक और बहुत हिस्टोरिकल वॉर्स भी हैं, उन वॉर्स के बारे में। तो वो आपको एक बेंचमार्क बना के ना इन चीज़ों को थोड़ा सा देख लीजिएगा, बिकॉज आप इस रीजन से बिलोंग करती हैं, तो इंडियन हिस्ट्री के से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस आपको वो पूछेंगे। शेरशाह सूरी की वॉर्स थी, वॉर ऑफ कलिंजार के बारे में, पानीपत की जो बैटल्स हुई हैं 3, इनके बारे में देख लीजिए, वॉर ऑफ बक्सर के बारे में, वॉर ऑफ प्लासी के बारे में थोड़ा सा देख लीजिएगा। अदरवाइज इनके आपने क्वेश्चन ड्रॉप किए, डजंट मेक सेंस कि आपको उसके नंबर स्कोर कम नहीं किया आप, लेकिन आप अगर बेटर प्रिपेयर होके जाएंगे, यू वुड बी इन अ गुड पोजीशन।
So you are fine. Keep it up. Best of luck. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.